Okay, you're live.
All right. Should we give it a couple minutes as people start to chime in? Can you see that? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to give everyone a couple of minutes to join me today. Thank you so much for spending your motivational Monday, getting a little bit of education, and hopefully you will walk away today feeling more comfortable about extensions and the business part of it as well. So before we get to start and I give you guys a little walk through what we have just started, I want to thank my people behind the scenes. I have my assistant for the day, Amber. She's going to be helping me out with the extension installation. My beautiful client and good friend, Amanda. She did this for me last minute, so we are totally excited to be here with you guys. My name is Jaqueline Figueroa. I am a Master Senior Educator and Director of Development for hairtalk Hair Extensions. This has been a whirlwind of an adventure for me, and I can't wait to share with you what I have learned with the company and what we hope to give back to the stylist in this season coming up for education. So we're going to start walking you through what we have installed already. So what I'm working with is 21-inch and 17-inch tape extensions. I am working with two different sizes. We are going to be demonstrating what it is to work with a tape today. So I want to walk you through our coloring first. Then you're going to see some dividers on our coloring. We are going to start with the bands. So what is available to you in Hair Talk bands? This is where my consultation first begins. So what we have is our original band. So I'm going to be working with these. You are going to need less of this style to get more coverage. So I always say medium to thick density. You're always going to want to start with an original. Then we have our petite, which is going to be a smaller extension available to you in our original band style, our plus, and now our new addition, which is our pro. These little guys are going to give you a more natural feel to the hair. They're going to hide a little bit better, but you will need more to cover. And then last but not least, we have our minis. So these guys are here for a good time, not a long time. These little guys are going to live in the client's hair anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. It just depends on the grow out. So what we have done with my guest today is we started with color, and we are working with 3 different colors and 2 different lengths. So we are working with 17 and 21, and we are also working with a blonde highlight. This is going to be our petite 60A and 17. We also have a color melt. So as you can see, we have that nice patented 50% root, 20% root, 25% of the mixed color, and 50% of our dominant pigment. So that seamless blend is going to allow me to still keep her root dark, but allow to give me that pop of color that she wants at her ends. And then last but not least, for anything to blend out, not only do we need to be on tone, but we also need dimension. Anytime you are working with someone who has a shorter length to start with and you really want to drop it down, you have 2 things that can happen. You're going to get a lot of hair and she is going to look fine and then heavy at the end. That's why we are mixing 2 different lengths so that we can get more of a wispier finish to the end versus a bulkier look. Someone with medium to thick density, you're definitely going to want to get the same length throughout so she can build that body throughout her hair. But because she is on the finer texture, we want to go ahead and mix those 2 lengths so that she's getting the desired length, but we're not building on that bulk. So what we started on her first 2 rows, and again for you that are just logging in with us, my name is Jaqueline Figueroa. I'm a hairstylist based out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I am a senior master educator with Hair Talk Extensions. I do a lot of their Spanish education, as well as a new class that we have developed with Hair Talk to empower the stylist and to really understand the business behind extensions, not just the methods. So what we have here is I started her installation. So rule number 1 for me is, what does the client see when she kicks her hair forward, right? I always say the perimeter and what is on the outside and the ends, that is for my guest. What is in the interior, how I choose to lay down the patterns and the color selections, that is going to be for me. Because she doesn't see this, she's going to see this. So what we have done is I've split her hair. Oh my gosh, you guys have me shaking. I split her hair, and what I want to look for is her last layer. So basically this hair that she kicks forward. We want to make sure that this is blended. So what we do is we start with the low light at the bottom so that the color can run all the way from start to finish. So you don't see any line of demarcation from where that natural hair starts to where my extension goes. So what we do is we have laid down 2 rows. My first row was my color melt at the bottom. And what we did this for is for the freedom of being able to style her hair. So what we love about the tape is that it's super seamless and that there is no bulk that is being built through the interior. So it's going to be a flat installation. She's going to be able to sleep on it, style it, curl it without adding any bulk through the base of her hair. So my first row was a color melt, and this is what I love to see about my color melts, because they really do make the difference in the installation. When I'm combing my hair up, there is no break between her natural hair and my extension. Now, let's take out her natural hair. So you can see where she is and where my extension starts. But look how flawless that is. It's super seamless and it allows for more coverage. So what I did is on top of that row, we want to go ahead and lighten. So my first row started with the color melt. Then on top, we go ahead and we add our lowest highlight, which this is a color 20. So it adds brightness to her hair. Let me bring her up so you can see her a little bit more. And then what we did is I kept the bottom row, again on her second row, we kept it dark on the interior. These first 2 rows are crucial for when our clients want to put and wear their extensions up. This is what we want to see. No extension living through that perimeter. Perfect. Now what we did for the top, because now we are wanting to add the highlight to really pop her color. So what we did is we laid down on the perimeter, which is her 2 corners, a color melt with a 60 texturized on the top. Texturized meaning that we run the texturized through it one time to drop out 50%, because this isn't the extension that is going to build bulk. This is the extension that is going to allow me to create dimension. So it's going to give her the lightness that she wants, but it's not going to look stripy, if you will. So we'll demonstrate that for you on our next row. Now, our perimeters are going to be the color melt, which is the natural base with the highlight. And then these 2 interiors are going to be our low light with our highlight on the top, so that we get that extra lightness throughout her ends. And again, we're still working through the nape and in her perimeter. So this is solid. This is for her. This is now me building my balayage or building my blonde out. The interior is for me. So we are going to drop down to our 3rd row. Now I want to speak to the clients that we have that have some alopecia going on. This is a great extension because the weight of the extension is going to be distributed. So we do something special for her on this corner so that she is able to style, hide her hair. Style and hide the problem area of her hair. So good for you guys that are logging in. I hope you have found so far so good. My name is Jaqueline. I have Amber here helping me out do extension. She's hiding in the corner. And we just want to walk you through and really empower the stylist, not only based on method, but to really understand your business when it comes to extensions. If you are not taking the time to educate yourself, not only on the business part and just on the method, it's going to be a little harder to kickstart your business. So what we have done with Hair Talk, we've developed a class, which is Master the Methods. It's a 2-day course, 3 methods that you're going to learn, and then we will also help you by understanding and guiding you on how to build proper hair orders so that you're profitable every single time you have a client come in. So what I want to start with is going to be my color melt in 17-inch, and then on top I will have a color 20. Now we are going to start in her perimeter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my petite and I'm going to place it right over where I see that gap, because when she goes to style her hair, this is going to be what helps me create coverage. So I'm going to grab my extension by the center because it's going to give me stability. I am going to place my pinky on scalp, never separating, always grabbing the same density as one extension. I'm going to place my extension right up to the root, drop it down to give it some freedom, and then combing right over it to make sure that all that natural hair is coming straight from above and I'm not getting any pieces. And I started with the 17-inch because, again, this is her perimeter. We all tend to have a little bit of breakage through the perimeter. This is what we tend to put up. I like starting with a smaller length to extend, and then on top, I like adding my boldness to it. So now we went from 17. From 17, we're going to do a 21 on top of that because, again, she has a finer texture to her hair. So we don't want to fill up the interior with all 21-inch to add bulk. We want to make sure that we stay consistent and it looks natural to her density. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let's do that pattern one more time. 17 with the 21-20. So much. And then again, these two are going to be color melts, meaning the style that it is, it's going to diffuse to a lighter color at the end. This is going to allow me, which I'm sure everyone has heard about, Build-A-Bear. This is going to allow me to build blinds. It's going to allow me to build balayages. This is one of my favorite ways in one of the services that I've added to my menu called Color Without Commitment. So what you want to do is make sure you're grabbing the same density as one, and I just want to walk you through and show you what that does for the interior, right? Now we're starting to go ahead and create coverage for her for when she puts her hair up. That's what we want to see out of our installation. So what I do to one side, I like to come over and do to the other to be able to keep my color and density even. If you have any questions, you can be sure to ask and we will definitely answer them for you. If I don't have the answer, I will find it. Again, my name is Jaqueline Figueroa. I thank everyone so much for spending your motivational Monday with me. It's Halloween, so let's do some good work and feel good about today. So again, we are going to pot, we are going to lock, and we are going to drop the natural hair right over my band. I am going to go ahead and clean up the corners, making sure I'm not taking hair from any other spot. Now we are pairing it with our 21-inch color 20. Now for me, this is what I love. When I can see where her natural is, which I will pull it out, right? This is her natural. Now when I can lose her natural in my extension, that lets me know that as I work up, I'm going to need less and less because my color is the right underlying pigment. Meaning that when you are doing extensions, if your blonde is gold, you're gonna at least, even if you're trying to cool her down, you're gonna want to at least have one selection of color in that gold tone. So for her, this is what I would call my base color. My base being a little darker, right? Being a little darker, having a little bit of a transition. But the reason I picked this is because it's closest to her base. So what ends up happening, that anything that I put underneath it or above it, it's going to blend out. It's going to allow me to highlight her without commitment. It's going to allow me to build that balayage without the downtime and processing time, and hoping that my toner takes and somehow miraculously gets me to that 10 ashy levels. So as long as I keep my base color, or that color that matches my existing tone, then whatever I put on top of it or underneath it will automatically blend out for me because I have that layer of coverage. So I'm just gonna be laying this on.
So we do have a question.
Okay, perfect.
Someone was wondering if you can reuse the tape ends.
Yes, so hairtalk is a reusable extension. So the question was, let me start there. The question was, can we reuse the extension? Yes. So the tape extension can be reused up to 3 times. So it's 1 installation and then the removal and reapplication for 3 times. Now we say up to 3 times because obviously everything depends on your client and maintenance. I like to set my clients, and if I can give you a little pro tip, right? The way that I work my clients and the way that I set my business up is that every time at installation, you are going to receive shampoo, conditioner, and masks. Because I feel that if anyone is going to cut a corner, and I've been doing this for 11 years, so I feel like if someone's going to cut a corner, it's going to be on the hair care maintenance. And that's what makes the world of a difference between can you reuse the extension and can you not. So what I like to do for all first-time clients, I like to do a complimentary blowout to make sure that they feel comfortable enough, because I always compare it to getting a new bag or getting a car. You want to park it as far as you can, or your bag goes on the chair, right? But it does not go on the floor. So your girls are going to come in after being 13 inches long, and you're going to drop them down to 17, 21 inch, and what do they do with their hair? So I like to have them come in for shampoo and blowout. And that appointment, I'm going to set their first 2 removals and reapplication. So for her, she is going to be a petite client. So this is going to allow me for 6 to 8 weeks before she has to come in. But I will be adding a couple of our originals that are going to be 8 to 10 weeks. So I will average her out at 6 to 7 weeks for a removal and reapplication. So let's just talk like being systematic, right? Part of having your business, and what we do a lot is we do a lot of technical training, a lot of technique training. And the question was brought up maybe about 6 months ago, what do we feel is missing from education? And I felt like the business building was a part that a lot of us discover but don't really walk through with confidence. So the one thing that we have developed in Hair Talk is a system of how to be profitable at each order. So this is something that we're super proud of. This is something that we feel that we are empowering the stylist, not only just with technique, but also with a product that retains business, because it's 1 installation, 3 removals, and 3 reapplications. We also have 2 other methods available. We have our weft, we have our keratin. So it's definitely one-stop shop for the client and for the stylist. You can feel confident that we give you guys not only a product, but we give you a system and we help you build the business. So there's definitely a lot of things to take from Hair Talk, but yes, the extension is reusable up to 3 times. Now I'm comfortable, so now let the questions roll in. Now we're on a roll now. So what I want to do now is I want to work about a 1/2 inch above the ear. Now, we don't know how people live their lives, whether they put sunglasses on or they still, put a little pencil above their ear. So we are going to drop about a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to rotate her all the way around. creating a horseshoe section. For the front, I will say I like a little unconventional. Depending on how short my girl is around her face frame is actually how I end up placing my extensions. Because sometimes, do they need to be higher? Of course they do. Because we're trying to make up for the length or the breakage that is not there. So again, we're going to comb this hair down, making sure I'm taking nice, clean sections. Now, we used to joke back in the day, right? Like, you got phalanges, you got 9 phalanges, you got a rat tail comb, you got some clips, then you too can do extensions. And at the end of the day, I want to say, in all seriousness, extension business in the salon is going to be, I say in my books, and I'm in Vegas, it's the most profitable service that you are going to have in your menu. When you take our class and we start showing you how to build your order, and we start to show you how to include taxes, shipping, how to not forget about your markup price. I think that is the strongest conversation that we can have, because a lot of us can go to a class and go to a hair show and do a lot of look and learn. I'm very good at, if I see a stylist and I see something that I like, I can take from them and make it my own. It was the business part. Let's do 17 color melt. It was the business part for me that took me a while. So I feel very passionate and I feel very empowered to put it back from where we got it, right? So that's what I think it makes the biggest difference. Now let's take a look at her color that we just put in. So as you can see, she has that root and it spars out to this color. So what do I have? I have my color melt that allows me to have my base, that transition, and then that 100% base color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb her hair behind her ear. What I'm looking for is where the hair stops to rotate. So it stops to rotate right in front of the ear. This is where my first extension will go. On my next row, if I need to push it forward to make up for breakage or to make up for the shortness, then on my next row, I can come in and I can break lay that a little forward. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start my installation. Same density as 1. Now we're starting with the 17, and on top, I will do a texturized highlight in 21 inch. So I want to make sure I'm cleaning up. And this is what I love to see. Where does that natural start and where does my extension stop? Beautiful blend. And then let's go ahead and repeat that same. So let me go ahead and show you what I mean by texturizing. So again, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing this sweet extension. This is only to create dimension. This isn't my dominant color. This is a highlight color. So what I'm going to do is right up to the base, I'm going to close my shears, taking out about 30% of the density. So we still have density in here. All I did was create, let me see. Do you see that like little in and out from where the teeth were? So that is going to create a softer transition into adding a highlight. This is not done to every single piece. For me, this is done at the nape if I'm really trying to create boldness, and above the ear because we need softness when we go ahead and pull this back. Making this a complete slice, this will definitely look like a sliced foil. We want it to be more of a balayage, of a softer transition. So taking my extension, lining it up one to the other, picking up and pressing. So this is me adding my highlight. That's my peak. Now let's go ahead and create a valley. So we're going to do what we do to one side, separate enough extensions for the other side.
Okay. So kind of a related question. How many different colors of extensions would you use to create dimension?
So this is going to depend on where is my starting point. If it's someone like me that has a darker tone and only has soft transition, then I will do 2 packs. I will do a color melt with like a highlight underneath it. But when I say highlight, I'm going to show you what I'm working with. So right now, this is my highlight. This is my low light. And this is my base color. So depending on how bold and how loud you want it to be, like this to this will help camouflage and dilute how bright and bold this is. So I can add this, and this is really what I'm gonna be working with, this bottom. Because the top lives in the interior, this is going to be what the color is really based off of. So if you are wanting to build a blonde, if you are wanting to crisp up a platinum blonde, you want her to stay ashier longer, you're going to want to do one color that matches her exactly and then an ashier toned blonde, right? To create more of that like egg white, silver toned blonde. If you are wanting to build a balayage, which is dimension, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. This is what we want it to look like, where you see a little bit of that cool color and a little bit of that blonde. So for me, with her, I'm doing 3 colors. But what it is, it's 1 pack of 20 and 2 partial packs of 12. So we're going in and I'm just spreading and widening up the installation to create what I want. I always say the crown is for the client, above the ear and the nape is for the client. Everything that it lives inside is going to be how I formulate it to give that effect that I want. So I recommend, if you are going to do an installation and you are looking to create, I would say anyone from a level 3 and below can probably most likely stay at 1 tone. Anyone at a level 4, level 5, 6, 7, I feel like then you start to fade out, and hair looks and feels and it acts more natural when you have dimension in it. So even if it's a 5 and a 6, or a 6 or a 5 and a 7, something a little lighter will definitely create more of a natural feel. It's only when we do one solid color, and if it's not like a blue black or a level 3 solid tone, then you start to feel like maybe the brown underlying pigment is not the same. Maybe one is red and one is ashy, and that's what we really want to help with. That's where dimension comes in, because when you have a highlight and a low light, and then you have a dominant base color, which would be this color, what ends up happening, your eye doesn't know where the stopping and starting point is. So you're going to get a more blended, more softer feel to it. So I hope that answers that question. I'm going to go ahead again, take the same density as 1. We're working with 17, and on top of it, I'm stacking my 21 inch. And again, I'm going to texturize this tone because we are at my face frame. I want to build my highlight. These are my peaks, and then we're going to drop down to the valley with our low light and our base color. So again, we're taking our petite, this is in the Style Pro, right up to the base. My shears are taking 30% of that weight out, only enough to create that highlighted feel. That's all I want. Everything else that lives above the ear is going to be a full extension. Only this, because we want to make sure when we add this, imagine this to be like a low mini highlight, a mini weed highlight, right? So it's impactful. You don't want to overwhelm it, right? Because that's not the goal. What we want to create is dimension. And we still have another 2 rows that are going to live on top. So what we do is we're going to rotate her, and what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. And again, also being cautious to create coverage in this area of the head. So working with our 17 inch, because it's easier to have the 17 drop down and create a layer for us than to go back and try to cut it. So that's one of my things that I definitely do in the salon a lot as well, is I worked with different links to try to create, unless someone tells me that they want a fuller, more bolder look, then I'll go ahead and match them to two of the same, the same length, 2 to 3 packs of the same length. But if it's someone that has a finer texture and we're dropping them from, let's say, a 13 to a 21, I definitely like to work my 17 in there to give me a softer, less bulkier look for her, because we don't want to go in and have to texturize what we just did. So doing it ahead of time definitely makes the difference. So adding my highlight. So now I typically, when we teach these classes, the biggest thing I can tell you is that you want to look at your extensions as if they were color bowls. So for me, I like to work with a base color, which is my most neutral. Then I add a highlight and a low light. That dimension allows for a softer transition. So that's definitely one of the things that when we are in the academy, we definitely speak on. And when you are taking our 3-method 2-day course, you end up leaving not only knowing how to do the methods, how to upkeep, but also how to set up your business so that you are profitable at every single consultation, and you are profitable because this is a higher paying service. So when you go from $75, $65 haircuts, maybe $75, $65 root coverage to $1,200, $1,000, we want to make sure that you're understanding your responsibilities, the responsibility that the client has. I always hear, well, aren't extensions or can extensions cause harm? Or, what about my hair? Do you think my hair is strong enough? I always let my clients know that this is a commitment that we're about to embark on. And for the next 6 to 8 months, me and you have an agreement that you're not going to get color done anywhere else. I'm going to teach you and educate you best to how to maintenance and how to take care, how to curl, how to blow dry, because this is a new experience, especially when you are dropping them down to a longer, fuller length. So I tend to baby my clients a little bit when it comes to this area, because I want them to be first of all, I want them to be confident, right? Because I can do the best service in my ability. But if they don't go home and they don't feel like they can wash it and style it and live in it, then it goes for nothing. So we want to make sure that we're listening in our consultations to lifestyle, that we're listening to our consultations when our clients say that they're active, and we have to go in our heads and really break down, is this a keratin client? Is she a hybrid client? Is she a tape client? Because lifestyle is a big marker on what extensions are going to fit her best. So now that we're on the back, I am going to switch over my pattern. I am going to do, let's go ahead and do the 21-inch platinum. And let's do 2 platinum through the bottom. And then we're going to do our color melt at the top. So let me lower her down. Now for me, what I really like to see is I really want to see the wispiness that is being added through the end. So what I do love about our petites is that our extension, thank you so much, our extension is actually made that perfect 1.1 inch wide, which allows us to contour around the head perfectly. So I can put them as close as I want, never overlapping and never kissing. So for this extension, I just went and I did 1 complete, and you can see how being a little bit diluted to that, bold stripe that you see. But on top of it, perfect, thank you so much. We are going to put our 21-inch color melt in our Pro.
So another question for you. Somebody was wondering what the maintenance for this look would look like, as well as how long the retouch of the tape-ins would take you.
Okay, so this is where it gets fun because we get to talk time and money. And we all know that time is money. So the actual installation, when you are taking the certification with us, the actual installation is going to be a 45-minute installation, and it's going to be a 2-hour service. So for her removal, for this size band, it's going to be 8 to 10 weeks, and you are going to do this is going to be anywhere in that window. So I have clients that will come to me in 6 weeks because of the texture of their hair. If she's a little coarser, then she can go that 8 weeks. If she's a little finer in texture, I like to have them come into me sooner. So your window is going to be anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks. It just really depends on natural hair growth. I have girls that come in that like to pair it with a color service. So if they're getting their roots done, then they're in here every 6 weeks. Now, pricing gets a little hard to talk about, right? Because we're all in different areas of America and it's all going to be different. Extensions should still be the highest paying service that you're going to deliver in a salon. They are going to be the most profitable services that you do in a salon, next to color services. So for her, she's going to come back to me in 8 weeks. And she is going, I'm just going to tell and it's $500 in and $500 out. So that is what I am based here in Las Vegas. And then the service looks like this. She comes in, we take out the extensions. The extensions have a special remover that is gentle on the hair. There is no sticky residue. We do not have to remove the existing tape. We layer it on top because if it is not this, that lets the client know it's time they need new hair. It's this at the top that lets the client, it's the feeling that changes that's closest to the root. It is never the end, and she's nodding because she knows it's true. So at the end of the day, if I can leave something with you, right? Especially if extensions are something that you want to really set yourself up doing. And I think it is a service that a lot of us are scared of because it is a higher price point. And this is my advice to the stylists that want this next year to be more profitable, more meaningful, and to really get you to elevate not only like your service, but elevate the services that you are giving in your salon and you're supporting, your team with. So I want you to go back and I want you to set yourself an education class that you want and that you feel like you can benefit from the most, whether it be a business class or a different technique. And I want you to set up a menu before you start to deliver this service. Understand what it costs you to do the service, what it should cost the client to get the service, and what your profit is going to be after you deliver the service. I think we do ourselves an injustice when we don't understand that part of the business. Because again, I was asked a question a couple months ago, and it was, what do you feel that is missing in the hairstyling industry? And for me, it was understanding the business element of it. So I just made this investment that cost me $2,000, right? I took a class, cost me $2,000. How do I go back and make this profitable for myself? How do I set myself up for success so that I am able to not only give the best, but also allow myself to live a good life? Because at the end of the day, I think that's the one thing that as we go and we give education, that's the one thing that I'm finding, that a lot of us are really amazing and we have this mindset to where like maybe we don't have the clients. Listen, you got to make room. Right? So I want you to go back. I want you to look at your price list, and I want you to amp up that price list 10-15%, which means then your services that you deliver get amped up. And there's a stylist for everyone, but I definitely think that understanding the services and what we're delivering and the profit margins, I think that's something really amazing. And it lets you know exactly where you land at the end of the year. And you should be profitable with every hair order that you submit at the end of the day. Let's go ahead and do one more of this. So now inside, I want to get back to the technique. So now we come inside and now we are seeing, so this is where my client lives. This is where she's going to live in that dimension that is being shown. So this is going to be the last row where I add that platinum highlight because it's through the interior again. Now the next, okay. Now my next row after this will be, I just dropped it, sorry. My next row after this, I will be all color melts, and then I will do the low light at the very top. So we will be having photos. We will be submitting her before and after. So if you can totally see what this is going to look like, I will also leave the information for the colors that we've selected and also for the links that we picked. That way, you can go back and take a look at it, take what you want and make it your own. So how's everyone feeling? Is everyone having a good Monday? Are we good? How's the leg going? I just want to make sure we're hitting on good points and that you are walking away feeling like you want to know more or feeling motivated to definitely take control of your business. So for me, this is what we want to see. So this is for me, but this transition, that's for my client. That's what gets you looking and feeling the most natural. And again, dimension, dimension, dimension. You can go and create, and like I said, we have services here that we call building balayages or building blinds. And this is a great way to do it. Even if you are correcting someone's hair color, this is going to be an amazing way to keep them ashier longer because obviously your extension is going to hold to that tone a lot better than that natural hair. So let's go ahead and let's do low light. Yeah, 17 and then 21 on the top, and then you can separate that for the other side as well so we don't run short. Shout out to Amber, she's been helping me today and all my clients. Thank you so much for coming and spending time. So now we are at our second row through the front, right? Our first row lives right here. So what we're going to do is I am going to come right above it, making sure that I take nice, clean sections. Cleanliness is next to godliness, right? So the cleaner your sections, the cleaner your installation, the cleaner the removal, the faster it's going to be. The removals take me about 2 hours to do the complete service. So the removal I can get done in about 45 minutes to an hour, then washing, styling, and reapplying. So as you can see, this one came a little further, still can comb her hair back. And then on top, I will be adding a color mount. Perfect. And then separate that for the other side. Thank you. And then again, she has 17, and on top of it, I'm stacking my 21 because I want to give her that length, but I do not want to create bulk because her hair is more of the wispier finish. I want to keep that the same. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and drop one more of the same color.
So we did have a question,
Okay.
wondering if there's a reason you chose tape and extensions for this client versus a weft, K-tip, etc.
Yeah, so for her, because we are working with areas in her hair that, let's say, are thinning, or she does have some alopecia that we're working on, I feel that if we were to take the weft and pinch that natural hair, I feel like it's tighter on the scalp. So she actually transitioned to tape. She did clip-ins when she came to me first, and what we've discovered with her is that the original tape-in extension was a little heavy, but because we do have the petite and it allows me to create more of a blended style, highlighted and lowlighted for her. And the actual weight of the extension is spread out between that 1.1 inch that allows me to follow the curvature of the head. This is why we felt that this extension is best for her. The wefts, even though, and I have a sample, so even though we have a machine weft, and as you can see, this is our hand-tied weft. It's super, super thin right at the top, creating a super seamless installation. Then we have our machine, which can be custom cut. These are a little bit thicker. I personally feel that for her and the density that we are trying to do with her, the tape allows her the freedom to style her hair up without them poking through, and it allows the weight to be distributed so that she's not having little sore spots from where I'm, essentially gripping the natural hair with the weft base that we do. Now there's different methods. Like, we definitely created something for our weft clients called an instant beaded row, which allows the installation to be quicker, faster, and it allows also for a more flat installation. With her, we have just had a better luck between letting her hair grow out, switching up color, and allowing for a more blended style for her. So that's why we've chose tape for her. And she's been a tape client for maybe like 3 or 4 years now. Yeah, and we started with the larger band, and then we found out that she worked better with a smaller band. So that's what we're working with her today, which is going to be our petite, and then we have it in original. And at the top right here, we have what you call a pro. So it allows for a more seamless, more camouflaged installation. But I will tell you this. Could I have done tape and keratin, or could I have done tape and weft? Absolutely. I think this really depends too on lifestyle. She's someone that does her hair, loves to style it. She's in the scene. We call it in the scene here in Vegas. So she's cocktail waitress, and she definitely loves big hair. So this is an extension that for her, she's been able to work, and it's been able to look and feel most natural to her. But I'm not above and beyond doing a hybrid installation on anyone. So as you can see, this is what I love about the pros. So that you can get really close to that root, and as you can see, it looks super seamless right up to that part, super clean. And then through the bottom, because this is what exists for me, through that bottom, you can see that now we have that highlight and that low light coming through. So what I'm going to do, what you do to one side, you're going to go ahead and rotate and do to the other. Cleaning up my sections. Thank you so much. And what we do to one side, we're going to do to the other. Again, tucking that hair behind her ear to make sure that I'm not poking through. Taking the same amount of density as one. I'm going to hold through the center. I'm going to pop. I'm going to lock, rotate up, pull right up to the part, drop it down a centimeter to give it freedom. Remove my hand and then roll right on top. So the reason we do our installations this way is because they are going to lay flat against the head, and we are cradling the hair in its natural fall. So it's going to grow straight out and down. So this is going to allow my extension to grow down. There is not going to be any matting, any tangling, and any ripping of the natural hair. So for her, that's definitely what we like. Now what we do to one side, we must do to the other. Always working with a clip right above my section, taking same density as one. We're gonna pop We're gonna lock, and then we're gonna now. Obviously, everyone, so unless they're parting down the center, when they do have a heavier side, I tend to go and do one more sandwich on this side, this being her heavy side. And then we drop everything because up after this point, now we're in unconventional placement. And listen, I always tell my girls, even if this extension is high, if we do need it and you do see the difference between where the breakage or the layer starts and then my extension, I'll comb it out, and right where I see the layer, I'll put one extension and I'll let her know, like, hey, take a look at the mirror, take a look at this piece. This is what we're trying to fill. Wear it this way for the next 6 weeks. When you come back, you'll have grow out. We'll go ahead and move that extension and that placement for you. 9 times out of 10, when they see, let's say, the hole where the extension, their natural hair is and the extension stops, 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, okay, I'll wear it like that. Because again, anyone that's coming in for extensions, they want a more of a seamless look versus a super textured or a super layered look. That's what I have found in my business. Beautiful. Now, I always let my girls leave on day 1 of installation flat ironed. I always tell my girls, let me see that blend. How do you see it? You see it when the hair is straight. Then 48 hours or 7 days, I let my girls come back in for a complimentary blowout. This is the opportunity that I take to really style their hair, blow it up in that curl set that they want. You know, that's the opportunity where we get to Victoria's Secret their hair. But on day 1, they are always leaving straight. I feel that curling your hair on day 1 when you are doing the installation can be a little tricky because it doesn't let you see the full picture. And this, I'm very happy with. It looks so good. So now we are at the very crown of her head. So what I'm going to do, this being her heavy side, I'm going to go ahead and go a little higher on this side before I finish off because I'm going to need more hair on this side. So what I like to do now, we are on top of the crown. Now for me, this is, I'm going to turn her around. This is the spot that I'm going to try to fill. Because when we drop her hair, this is the hole that I see. And then like, listen, could I let her go like this and be good with the installation? Absolutely. Absolutely. Could this be enough coverage for her? She's looking. Yes, it could be. It definitely could be. But I'm going to go ahead and place 2 more because for what I like to do and like the signature looks we like to give, we want to fill out that front of that hairline. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate her back around, position myself, turn this way. And again, we're going to go a little unconventional. Now we are at the top of her hairline. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to texturize a color melt because I want it to be softer and more of a balayaged look. So we are going to grab a 17 Platinum. Actually, give me one of those. Give me one of those. Perfect. And then we are going to take an Original. And I'm going to texturize it 30% right off the base. So you still see we have density. It just creates that texturized, almost transparent look to it. Let's go with the left with that guy. Perfect. And then we have our slice of blonde. So this is going to give me and allow for more coverage. So I'm going to go up high. Now, when you are doing unconventional placement, which is what I'm doing with her, typically the hair is going to kick forward, right towards the front. So you can go a little behind and it's going to allow and kick that extension forward. So for me, I'm still doing about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to go right up to the root and then drop down. Okay, and as you can see, we are starting to fill out right along that area. I'm going to take my original Pro band and I'm going to root it right up. Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and drop down another section. Okay. And I will probably drop one more around her face frame. Perfect. Let me see. So you can see that blending starts. Go ahead, look down. My extension is down here. So you can see we get no bulk that's being added from the installation, which I love because we get no big bulk at the root. So now I'm going to take my blonde extension. Now I'm going to texturize this one. And again, these are just the extensions that live at the top because we don't want it to be too stripy. We want it to have that highlighted, low lighted effect. I'm going to go right up to the root, take the same density as one. Now this one I'm going to push a little closer to the hairline. Nice, beautiful. We're going to come up and around. Beautiful. I'm going to turn her. Let me see. Get that out of there. Thank you. Beautiful. So now we can see where we have her face frame and it leads down to my lighter extension. Now, of course, the hair is going to pop when it's sitting next to something a little darker. So I definitely do love the highlighted, low lighted effect. And as you can see, we have that beautiful blend. There is no starting and stopping point. That's what we love about the tape, right? We can go really high, we can go unconventional, and because we're using more than one tone, it allows us to have more of a blended feel to the hair. And again, she's gonna leave straight today. She's gonna come back and we're gonna go ahead and wash everything, blow it out so that we can really blow up that style. But again, you can see that nice transformation. This is what we like to call building a balayage, ladies and gentlemen. So then we go onto her side. That is not her hubby side. And again, could I leave the installation like this? Of course I could, but I definitely am one that is, some people like to call me a hair hoarder. So I believe in the dream that more is more. So I'm going to go ahead and do one section and drop a few unconventional placements. So for this side, we are going to be texturizing the blonde. And we are going to be texturizing my color melt because now this is my last piece that I'm going to be installing in her on her less dense side, so I don't need as many extensions, and I do need it to blend out a little bit more. So again, removing 30% of the density. This is not done to every single extension. This is only done in the perimeter to allow me to create a more blended, seamless look. So I'm going to go ahead, take that section. We're going to pop, we're going to lock, we are going to drop. I'm just going to clean up my section, making sure that I'm only taking hair that's right directly from above. And then I'm going to take my original band, close it, drop down 30%. Again, not to every single one. This is only being done to the perimeter, and they still do last. You're still gonna get your 3 removals and 3 applications out of it. And then we're gonna go ahead and drop her down. Beautiful. So now we can go ahead and finish off with Z-back. Now. How are we doing so far? Do we have any questions? You guys have me for a few more minutes, and I definitely want to leave feeling like everyone has enjoyed and has gotten something out of the installation, product knowledge, education, and I hope to see you at our Hair Talk Academy classes. If you have not signed up, you definitely want to take advantage. I know that we are doing some deals, so you want to start off the new year with a bang, ladies and gentlemen.
We did have a question wondering if you were using the regular tape-ins or the plus kind.
I am alternating from the original and our petite original and our petite pro. So it's the newest style that we have. Let me walk you through. Let me see this one. So this is the newest band that we have. As you can see, it's like a half and half between our plus and our original. The hair still can be pulled off, so it's injected through a nylon, and it's just sealed right at the top. So this for me is like my newest favorite because the pluses can give you a lot of density. I feel like this pairs really nicely with our original. And then let me see if I can move this back a tiny bit so that you could get, as you can see, we're in my studio. Let me see if I can bring her up a little bit. So now the question arises, can we go higher? Oh my gosh, should we go higher is the question. But, you know, like I said earlier, I kind of feel that to me, you don't ever want to put your clients in so much density that they can't manage their hair, but you also want to give them enough hair so that they feel they're not stringy, that they're fuller than what they have been. So that's the boldness, that's what we are giving to our girl. Now, I'm going to walk you through the perimeter. So when she goes to style her hair up, great. So I always tell my girls, when you style your hair up, you want to grab your hand and go from the neck all the way up, almost flipping, coming this way, so that you're flipping all the extensions. And then this is the finish that we want to give, something super flat to the head. And if you remember when we first started, we're dealing with a little alopecia here. So when we open up the installation, you can definitely see where that problem spot is. And then when she goes to wear her hair up now, she has coverage from our extension. So doing little things along the installation to really make the most impact in our installation is the name of the game. So little things here and there and working with multiple lengths and different style bands is definitely going to make for a more natural, more seamless installation. So from this part, now I guess, let me see what I'm working with. I still have an original. Let me see where I'm at. Now, could I stop here because this is literally this little top part that I'm working with? Sure. No, but I'm not. I'm going to add 2 more. And then we're going to call it a day because, again, we do want it to be something she can live in. We don't just want to showcase for you. But how does everyone feel about the color selection? How are you feeling about the blend? What do you think about the installation? We want you to share everything with us so that we feel that you are definitely getting, what you came here for, some education, a little inspiration, or a lot of inspiration, and, a quick new technique. I always say if you have hair clips, you have phalanges, and you have a rat tail, you can do tape. It's super quick, super easy. I definitely think it's a game changer if you're someone new at extensions and if you're wanting to learn a new technique. I think tape is definitely, for me, it has been one of the easiest transitions that I have done. So I'm going to put my blonde one through the bottom. Now, if I wanted to, could I just use this extension and put a single-sided tape in? I could. But what I want to do is create, again, a softer, more balayaged feel to the hair. So by adding that neutral on top, you see instantly what that does. It allows me to bring up the light and it gives it more of a highlighted feeling versus it being like almost blocked and sliced out. Thank you so much. And because, again, we are only texturizing what is in the perimeter, the rest of the installation, the extensions were left as is. Only at the nape and at the crown am I doing this so that I am able to create more of a highlighted feel to the extension versus a sliced out feel to the extension. So for this, now, because we do have 2 band styles on her, we have the original and we have the petite, she is going to average out at 8 weeks for a full removal and reinstallation. Now again, check that out. So you see how that light travels all the way up and it's almost like a very sliced foil. When we do the color melt, and the color melt has been texturized at the top, when we add it right on top, we can see how that transitions and creates a completely different effect. And we take this and we drop her down. Perfect. Will you get me that serum that's on that side so I can kill the static a little bit? Okay. So how are we feeling about the color selection and about the color pattern? Is everyone feeling good? Do we have any questions? Because pretty much after this, we go into blend and shaping. Her installation is done. So what I have is a little bit of serum on my hands because we have a little static here in Vegas right now. And again, I want to show you, this is typically how my clients, let me add the extra to my hair. This is typically how my installations and my girls are leaving on day 1. I walk them out, they leave with straight hair. This is going to allow them to really see what they have. Perfect. to really take advantage of the full look. So we walk them through the back. We let them see how blended the hair is. You can see that super blonde highlight in there, but it also looks very soft, very melted. Now the very ends don't look bulky, again, because we're working with two different lengths. You get that sparseness of it. So if I were to just do 21 inch, she would have widened out in the installation. It would look heavy. But when we turn her around, bring this hair forward, we can see the color effect in there when she flips her hair, right? Because we want to make sure there is no stopping or starting point from where her natural hair is to where we started extending the hair. So what I like to do after this point, she leaves straight, uncross your legs for me. Beautiful. Then we start our blend in a shape. So what I like to do is I'm going to pick a section no wider than my comb. So about 1 inch. And what I do to one side, I'm going to go ahead and do to the other. Now, because we have worked with two different lengths, and we have stacked those lengths on top of one another, what it's created for us is a more softer and layered look. So what I'm going to do is where her natural is, I'm going to take that and I'm going to lower it just a bit and I'm going to start a guide. This is to create movement in her hair. Anytime that I have someone come in for extensions, I want to tell you 9 times out of 10, they are going to want a softer, longer, more blended look over a textured, wispier look, because typically they're coming in with wispy hair. So what we want to add is thickness and boldness to the hair and body. So we technically, a lot of our girls will look like this, right? Longer looks, maybe if it's a little layered, it's gonna be more blunt, long and straight. So typically this is what, when someone comes to me and looks for extensions, that's the look that we're giving them. It's not going to be a wispier or more textured look. We're elongating those textures, we're elongating those layers. So I always give the advice, you can always cut more, but you can never cut less, or you can never pick it up and put it back on. So baby step your way through the haircut so that if you need to cut more layers, you can always pick it up and cut again, pick it up and cut again. But once you pick up the hair and you set a blunt line in it, it's gonna be really hard to get out. So I always say step your way through, work with different lengths, so that you are not stuck trying to blend out something that's a little difficult for you. I had butter hands, sorry. Thank you so much. Perfect. Again, we are going to take where her natural hair starts. I'm going to drop down a little bit below it. And I am going just to feather using the very almost end right here of my shear to cut, not this tip, because I don't want to slice. I want to create a closed end cut. And again, because we've worked with our longer layers, we can see that she has that softness that's coming in. This you will get from stacking two lengths together. Two of the same lengths create boldness or more body. Using two different lengths will create a softer finish to the very end, which I personally like for my girls who are a little finer in texture. One side, we must do to the other. your chin up because we want to over direct that hair so that we're saving length. This has to be my favorite color on you just yet, girlfriend. And as you can see now, it's just those very last ends. But working with those two lengths literally makes it so that I have less of a job when it comes to this part of the service. And then listen, in that complimentary blowout, which she's gonna come back for, chin up, in within the 7 days of her installation, what's gonna happen there, if she tells me, hey Jack, I feel a little heavy, could we please layer it a little bit more? I'm able to do that then. So this is another little trick that we end up doing. When you are building length and you have this back of the chair, I want you to fold that cutting cape. And then I'm gonna have you stand up. So what I like to do is now we're going to take the wings of the cutting cape, we're going to fold them into the front so that now we have a flat surface to work on. Okay, so I'm going to have you look down. And then what I like to do is just ever so slightly bevel the very ends of the extension because I want to see my perimeter. I want to make sure that all my hair is finishing at the same spot to create a beautiful perimeter for my extension. How are we doing? Do we have any questions?
None at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Okay, she's looking good, everyone. Now, what I like to do is making sure that we have no hair behind the ears. I'm gonna have her look all the way down because again, we're over directing. Now we're saving our length in the back. And I wanna open up my installation. All I'm really looking for is the very ends to create more of a soft oval or rounded feel to the hair. I'm going to take that. You see that tiny little peak? We're going to go ahead and get rid of that little guy because a lot of the shape comes from layering in the front. And then come back. So from where we started to where we are now, I'm going to have you come back. Sure. Great. There. Perfect. So let's go ahead and give a little walkthrough before we close out. So my name is Jaqueline Figueroa. I am a Senior Master Educator and Director of Development for Hair Talk Extensions. I have Amber in the background who has been helping me with the extensions. And in my chair, we had my beautiful good friend and client, Amanda, today. And shout out to my videographer also. Coleman. But I just want to walk you through the last bit of finalizing your installation, right? Because from start to finish, I recommend that this become an experience for your clients. So from start to finish, you want to be able to deliver a service that feels different from all your other extension services. Or if you're new to this service is going to feel different from the other services that you give. So from consultation to listening to what lifestyle is going to help you determine what extension is going to fit her better. Then you're going to look at scalp, that you're also going to take that into consideration, and then density of hair. So for her, we have found that she has one scalp issue, right, which is alopecia. Then she has a finer texture to her hair, so we wanted to add length, but we didn't want it to be extremely heavy. So we chose our petite tape extension. So one of the things is that she wants to be able to put her hair up and to have coverage where she had that problem area. So we will definitely post those before and after so you can have a comparison of where we started and where we ended up at. So now we've chosen our color melts to be at the base so that they give us a more covered, more seamless feel. The tape allows for no bulk to be built at the base of the hair or in the interior. And then what we have done is we have taken her color and added a brighter tone to it. We have extended it. We have worked with our 17 and 21-inch extensions to give her a balayaged feel to the hair. We've layered it in the front so that when she definitely wants to put it up, she has that coverage of the extensions. And we've also layered it in the front so that it can fall natural for her. Like I said, we will be posting those after pictures. And then we're going to take this. And this is what we have. Do your thing, girl. Let the camera know. So we want to definitely thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Thank you for spending your Monday with me. And shout out to BTC for always doing the most and definitely keeping the stylist inspired, not only with education, but also business building.